HIJJRA is Humanitarian Initiative Just Relief Aid, and we are one of the largest implementers for life-saving programs in Mogadishu and Lower Shabelle. So I'm going to speak about our mobile cash transfer. This was actually the first pilot program to do e-cash within Somalia. Also, I'm going to quickly run through as I know time is limited. So please, if you have any questions afterwards, feel free to approach me at lunch. So this was the first pilot ever launched in the whole of Somalia. We had 2,090 beneficiaries, the bulk of them being women. Over 2,000 of these were women. And it was done in 9 districts of Mogadishu. This is just a brief picture of the breakdown of districts within Mogadishu. So what is mobile cash within Somalia? Mobile cash in Somalia is very similar to the M-Pesa system that we have here. We use a system which is called e-mall. The e-mall system is an electronic transfer of funds, which allows you to then use your mobile as a wallet or as a bank. It's a very easy system to use. For us, our beneficiaries do not need bank accounts, which means that they would just go into the telecom when identified for the program, register their personal details, receive their passcode. From there, the how of it is our telecom, along with our agency, would transfer the funds directly to their mobile phone. They would plug in their passcode, same as you would with M-Pesa. The funds would then be opened for them, and they could redeem them at the remittance companies that are within the urban center in Mogadishu, or they could transfer these funds mobile to mobile, which is a very common process of purchase within Somalia. Oftentimes, if you go into Mogadishu, you'll sit in a restaurant, and you'll see a number to which you can send cash from your phone. So it was quite a common process with the community, so our community was very aware of it. Why we chose to launch mobile cash within Somalia, being a national organization, taking a risk upon ourselves to do that, to be the first ones to do it, was we saw a lot of issues stemming from our cash distribution. As my colleague from DRC has just said, Somalia is quite a complex situation. So some of the issues that we were looking to address with direct cash deposit were protections. Within the urban environment, as well as without, we were seeing a lot of issues of extortion, whether from the remittance companies, where people would actually go and collect their funds, or from the people controlling the areas where they live, or possibly also from their community leaders. It's a very insecure environment. We actually found out that a lot of our beneficiaries were very uncomfortable carrying cash on them throughout Mogadishu. They preferred not to have it with them, so they would shop very close to where they were, limiting what they were able to have in their livelihood basket. The ease of use. For them to go to remittance companies, we had a lot of our most vulnerable beneficiaries, mainly elderly or disabled people, that would have to wait out all day in the sun in very long lines, as the remittance was technically done, or quite normally done, on one day. And they would often have Good Samaritans from the community come to assist them while waiting in the lines. They would take their little ID cards, which you do for cash. They would go in and they would never come back with the cash. So often our beneficiaries never had an opportunity to benefit from the programs that we were implementing. Also, ease of transfer. When we were using remittance transfer companies, they often were changing their credit numbers. So we would experience delays in getting funds to our beneficiaries. That could potentially put our staff in danger. Again, it was also very difficult for them, and they had a lot of time to wait in lines. The program specifics. This was done in partnership with a local telecom organization. It was a vetted process. This was done with NationLink. NationLink did already have this e-mall system in place, so we just worked to expand upon this system. The program criteria for this was that we worked in areas we were already implementing life-saving services for our previous livelihood programs. So we were well aware of the community needs as well as the way that the community worked. We also targeted the host community to ensure that there was a general understanding of mobile technologies as well as literacy. As you understand, this is a mass problem in SMS and systems, as some of my colleagues have said, where you send an SMS, but if individuals aren't able to read, then the concept of the SMS is lost. This is one of our beneficiaries that was at the NationLink distribution. Our program components. The program components were simply the purchase of the mobile phones, the distribution of the mobile phones and SIM cards, training, and general sensitization around protection. For us, the benefits of use, the benefits to our beneficiaries, one of the main benefits that we found was protection. With our beneficiaries receiving direct cash, they were no longer in danger of carrying cash with them, which put them in danger of robbery, and they were no longer being extorted so easily. Access to goods and services, as I said before, carrying cash, they limited themselves to the distance that they could travel. There was also a limit to what they could purchase. Prevention of loss and storage. Many of our beneficiaries previously were losing their cards, so we had a massive turnover, and it was very complicated to be able to get them new information on their cards. Also, the storage of a cash tended to be a problem, as many of their shelters were left unmanned. We had the ease of use, where our beneficiaries are able to directly receive this, therefore they don't need to go out in the hot sun and wait in lines. And there was also empowerment and ownership. This was a big deal in terms of dignity of programming with our communities. For them, they were no longer obliged to be seen as receiving a donation, whether this was their funding, it was directly to their phones, and they were able to spend it as they wanted to spend it. This is just one of our beneficiaries. I wanted to share this story. She really summed it up very well. She said, "Before we waited too long, spending all day in the hot sun to receive our monies. I never felt safe after carry cash in town. Now it came straight to our phones. I can go anywhere and transfer the monies to shopkeepers for what I buy. I am too happy for this." Our program benefits, again, protection. It eliminated a lot of the risk for both our staff and beneficiaries. There were no remittance charges, so with a typical cash distribution, you would pay a remittance charge to the company that distributes this. There were also no transfer charges to the phone. It gave us a common monitoring system, where working remotely, as my colleague from DRC had said, can be a bit complicated. This gave us one system through NationLink Telecom in which we could also track the changes and monitor how spending was being done. It gave, again, tracking. It also showed us a bit of the displacement to migration trends. It will potentially give us the opportunity to have rapid response. It's a program which could be easily scaled up, given a bit of sensitization, as well as our communities are quite normally in possession of mobile phones. Technological empowerment for those that weren't, or those that didn't understand how to use this type of technology. We're able to empower them with a further skill, which, as this is a movement in the Horn of Africa and hopefully to the diaspora, will hopefully give them more globalized exposure. We were also able to eliminate the middleman. Again, the middleman was somebody that would come in as the Good Samaritan or wait for people to come back from their cash distributions and apply a tax or a service charge towards this. We also received our SIM cards in kind from the company as it expanded their network, and we got discounted mobile phones. Some of the challenges, the reason that we chose to do this in the urban environment is the mobile reach. So right now the program is only viable within the urban environments. The email's max wallet, which can actually be held on the phone, is only $150 US, which means if they don't spend all of their money at once, we cannot send them the full transfer of the next payment, which leads to a whole bunch of tracking issues as well as where the funding is going. Loss of gains of remittance. There was a loss of gains to our remittance companies, to people within the community. That potentially poses a staff threat for us as well as a community loss. Loss of pins and access. We still did experience our communities losing their pens, losing their cards. However, in this instance, as they knew they could just go to the NationLink Telecom and be able to renew this with their personal details, it was an easier process to be able to fix. Illiteracy. Again, we're facing expansion issues with the program based on illiteracy. Obviously, if you receive a text message that says you've received funds and you don't understand either what that text is or you can't read it to receive it, the program doesn't grow much. So for us, what we're looking to in Ways Forward is we're looking to expand further into the South. We're looking to use this programming instead of life-saving emergency programming, more towards resilience in our agricultural output program within AFGOE. This is a program in which this will be used as seed funds to get the farmers through while they are actually planting their crops and waiting for the produce. Community empowerment, again, we're really looking to see if we can better work with the communities to empower them to further use this technology so it can be embedded into some of the other systems that we've heard from our colleagues here presented on SMS, etc. We'd also very much like to see this, as it is a local transfer only at the moment, be able to expand more globally, so there could be more contact with diaspora as well as exchange for funds, as that's quite a large funding source within Somalia. And that's everything.